So I'm doing a special podcast today. I'll tell you why it's special. I'm with Dr. Kerstin Brehm, who is, I'll read, a leadership strategist. So today, Dr. Kerstin Brehm is a leadership strategist. However, the doctor comes from being a heart surgeon. She was a cardiac surgeon in the past. And after 10 years of doing that and doing it fantastically, like super great, it came to a point in time where Dr. Kerstin Brehm thought, right, what's next? And she moved from heart surgery, which we use to describe a job that is sought after, complicated, difficult, well-respected, to start something else in leadership strategy. True?
Yeah, kind of. There were a couple of steps in between. So yes, there was the cardiac surgery, and thank you for the introduction. You got it right. But when I transitioned from out of cardiac surgery, and when I was at the point where I thought, oh shit, I have nowhere to go. I'm in my mid-30s and I've done it all. I operated everything from the little babies to heart transplant to assist devices. And I was a senior consultant in cardiac surgery, and that's hard to do as a woman, at least in Europe. And I was like, okay, so what's next? What to do? And then I thought, I want to have more impact, more power. And so I thought, okay, maybe I want to be a CEO of a hospital. So that was my first idea, to have more power, more impact, to change things, to influence things. Thought, obviously, that in med school, we don't learn the economic part. You learn everything else but financial. So I thought, okay, I have to learn the financials part. I couldn't be bothered to go back to uni because our medical education takes so much time.
How many years?
So it's 6 years. So if you do it in a minimum of time, what I did. So it's 6 years of study, and then you have 6 years for the board certification, and then I had another 1.5 for the congenital cardiac surgery board certification.
13 and a half years.
Exactly. So that's forever.
And it takes 13 and a half years for you to be able to say, I'm a heart surgeon.
Yeah, I'm a board certified heart surgeon, because there are people out there, and I don't want to bash my former colleagues that call themselves a heart surgeon but are not yet really board certified. But yeah, it causes you to be a board certified cardiac surgeon. The minimum of time in Germany is 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
And those 12 years before that period, so I know I'm going into details, I'm sorry, but you can't go into an operations room by yourself as a doctor and lead an operation, but you can be part of a team that works on an operation.
Yeah, you can lead the operation, but you obviously have to have someone who's board certified observing you, because you have to learn how to operate. It's not like you can only observe for 6 years and then you all of a sudden can do a bypass operation. That's not how it works. So you have to learn it and you have to operate it. And there is a certain catalog you have to fulfill, like an amount of operations you have to do, of different operations, in order to be qualified to get your board certification.
But it took you 12 years to complete that journey.
Yeah, because it's 6 years of med school. So those 6 years everyone has to take, and then we are doctor afterwards. And then if you go for cardiac surgery, it's another 6 years of board certification.
I have a question that is not there. I just came up right now. How do you have the courage to study for something 12 years, and once you master it and you become really good at it, how do you wake up one morning and say, right, let's change that?
Yeah, I know. And that's what everyone around me was saying. So my parents...
I knew it's the most common question. I had to ask it.
No, it's okay. So my parents actually, because by the time I was living in Berlin, so that's more in the northern and northeastern part of Germany, and they lived in the south. So they drove up on a Friday night all the way from where they lived to Berlin just to check on me if I'm still sane, as I broke the news to them, because they were like, oh my God, she's losing it. So, oh my God, we have to make sure she's not losing it. Yeah.
That is awesome. How'd you get the courage, honestly?
I don't know how. It's, for me, it was really, as you explained, it was one morning. Obviously, there were a couple of times that was leading to that, but I wasn't associating that with me wanting to have a new challenge, because I was like thinking, okay, maybe it's the city, because I studied in Freiburg in the south of Germany. I did my board certification there. I was a consultant there. So I thought maybe I have to change the city. So I moved to Berlin. I worked at the largest congenital cardiac surgery unit in Europe as a consultant. So probably the dream job only a few will ever achieve. And then I thought, oh shit, it was not about the city, and it was not about everything else, because I optimized everything. So I did more sports, I socialized more, so I tried to do everything and optimize everything else. And I was like, no, it's basically that I lacked that goal. I don't know, I'm just an ambitious person, and if I don't have a goal to pursue and to work towards then it's not me. It's because everyone said, so now you've achieved that, you can finally maybe slow down a bit and kind of relax and enjoy what you've built. But for me, it was like, no, on to the next one, on to the next challenge, and building there as well.
You know, it's so funny. We were in a previous podcast. They've asked me a question. They said, happiness for you. And I'm someone who read a lot of books and studied a lot of approaches to define what happiness is. And one really stuck. They say an act of chasing happiness is actually an act that defines unhappiness. So you can't really chase happiness, if you know what I mean. And then he goes on to explain. He goes, if you want to be happy, it's the suffering you choose. It's the kind of suffering that you choose that makes you happier. So I totally understand when you get to a point and they tell you now sit down and enjoy it, that's not actually happiness. It's on to the next summit. You look around you and you think, okay, that's wild. Let me go and climb that.
Absolutely.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that happened pretty much every time.
All right. One more thing, that while you're talking, I don't think the 12 years that you've done, people think, why would you waste 12 years of education? But it hasn't gone to waste, has it?
No, it's not a waste. It's never been a waste. And I don't regret being a cardiac surgeon. It's brilliant, and I loved it. I loved the adrenaline rush. I loved that I had to make decisions under pressure, and that everyone looked to me if everything was going downhill, and I had to be the one saying, okay, let's do this and you do that, and how do we save the patient? So it's a great profession. You have kind of the precision you have to do in order to operate on like a millimeter big vessel. So that's really something not many can do, and that gives you a lot back, a lot of satisfaction and accomplishment, and a lot of feeling. But I think what I learned there and how to lead a team from a very young age, because when I started like really operating on patients, I was 25. And so leading the team in the operating room, where probably everyone has some different interests. So I'm the one operating, but then I have my first assistant who probably thought, oh shit, I wanted to do that operation myself, not assisting. Then you would have the second one, a med student, he was like, oh my God, I hate surgery, why do I have to be here? And then you have the scrub nurse who's thinking, oh yeah, well, can we hurry up? I have to go to the toilet. And then you have the anesthetist who's like, oh my God, I want to really not be here. I want to go up on that mountain with my mountain bike. So you have people with different interests, but you have to kind of get them all together as a team to work for that patient, and then to work for me, because I care deeply about the outcome and the results, and that never changed whatever I did. I do care for outcome and results. And so I had to learn how to lead, and I think that stuck with me throughout my leadership career. So I think whether it's being in Big Four consulting, whether it's being an international corporate, I think the way I lead hasn't changed. But I think my perspective, and that was the name of my talk I just gave, is emails can wait unless you're a heart surgeon. And because I can't
What can wait?
Emails.
Because
when I transitioned, I was wondering, because I knew that
cool.
I knew that when my phone was ringing, something was up and I had to rush to the hospital to save a patient. But all of a sudden, in Big Four consulting, everyone was reacting to an email like it was someone in cardiac arrest. everyone's like, oh, let me reply to that. And you got replies like immediately. You then sent out the email and then someone replied and was like, oh my God, I'm
That's
great.
in your role in Deloitte. You've noticed that.
Yeah, and that's the same. So you probably noticed that as well. So people are really like, every notification they get, they tend to reply, they tend to see that. But when you think about that, no one is going to die when you don't answer that email immediately.
So true.
Yeah, see.
What's the skill? So that's the thing that you did not take from heart surgery into consulting. The one thing is, no one is going to die.
No, it's
Because
not.
in heart surgery, you know what? Somebody will die
Yeah.
if you don't answer.
Yeah, it's someone's father, it's someone's daughter, so it has an impact. Yeah,
It has a huge impact.
absolutely.
So time is of the essence.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you did not take with you from heart surgery to the consulting.
I took the calm with me. I took the calm with me that I knew that we can do it. And the calm with me that I know that when the goings get tough and when you have that pressure, you better concentrate and focus on the facts and on what's ahead of you in order to solve that fast. Because you told me you're in consulting as well. And so you probably know that late nights where it's like, oh my God, the client needs this till tomorrow 7 a.m. and then they produce 100 slides no one will ever look at because the next morning the client forgot that they even asked for that, but it made a huge fuss. So for me it was more like, okay, what does the client really need? What do we really need to do in order to be successful, in order to have a great outcome? And I think that clarity and that focus on the important things and the things that really move the needle, I think that's something I really took with me.
Okay, so the skill that you have taken with you, if there is one skill you've taken from heart surgery into consulting, it's the calm.
It's not one thing, but the calm
What's the one? If
it's not the one.
just pick
can't-
one up.
No, you can't. You can't put it down to one thing because there's so many. Because it shapes you and cardiac surgery and because you take a lot of responsibility, as we just said, and of course, not everything is going according to plan. Of course, there are people dying. It's not like we can save everyone, and you have to deal with that. You have to deal and ask yourself, what has gone wrong? What could I have done better? What are the things that maybe we can change to save the next one? And so you're in a constant battle of getting better, of understanding the mistakes, of analyzing every situation in order to make it better. But you have to deal and let kind of the personal parts aside, because you can't go into an operation being an emotional mess. That's not going to work.
So tell me something. You were describing earlier, Doctor, how in an operations room, and you made me live that experience, honestly, because I mean, you're standing there and you're thinking of your patient, but you're also thinking of your assistant. And I love that. I love that. You said it in the nicest possible way. You know, your assistant is saying, I want that procedure to be mine.
Exactly.
And the other one's going, I don't even want to be here. I hate surgery.
Yeah.
Right. And one of them is thinking about a mountain bike. It's so vividly clear and it's so true, right?
It is. It is.
What's the skill as a leader that you need to lead all of those different intentions? Because they're intentions, right?
Yes, they are.
You're leading a set of intentions, not people.
Yeah.
What's the thing you need to lead them effectively?
There are two things. You have to empower them, because when you think about, I'm a surgeon, I'm looking through magnifying glasses. I have loops on me, so I see only a really tiny bit of the patient, because otherwise you can't really sew together a millimeter of vessels. So that's what you do. So you have to rely on everyone else sharing what they see and what they think might need your attention. So you have to empower them. You have to hear them out. You have to take them serious in what they are telling you and enable them and empower them to do that. On the other hand side, you have to be crystal clear in your communication, because that's something you don't have time for maybes, for if you'd like or if you don't like. So you need feedback. So for example, a perfusionist is sitting in my back doing the heart-lung machine while the heart is still. And so I can't see him. So if I say reduce pump flow by 50%, I can't rely on thinking that he might do that. So I need that feedback. So it's the clear communication, reduce the pump flow by 50%. And then his assurance to say, okay, pump flow reduced to 50%. So you really have to be a really clear communicator. Otherwise, it's not going to work and it's all falling apart. Because when you think about emergency and then you say to a strap nurse, maybe if you don't mind, could you please give me that scalpel? Yeah, not going to work.
Wow. So while being, my God, I'll tell you why.
It's a job. So don't put me on a pedestal. Yes, I did a lot.
It's
and
not
it's
about
a high
you.
pressure,
It's not about you. It's about the job.
It's a job. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what you've shown me something very interesting. On the one side, your emotions are activated at 110% because you're connected to that life between your hands. And on the other hand, you need to be stone cold in some parts of you where you don't have time to say, can you please hand me, you just name the thing and you expect it to be in the right position on your palm because a second makes a difference. And that is activating two completely different parts of your brain.
That's true. That's my superpower.
At the same time. How does that help in consulting?
It has helped in a way that I'm very empathetic, so I can feel maybe what's wrong with people very easily. So it's kind of more the emotional intelligence, I think it's called, to know which buttons to press that I get everyone on board and to motivate everyone and get the best out of everyone. But on the other side, to be really clear in my communication, because I expect results. So I'm clear about when is the deadline, what do I expect as a result, what is good, what is not good, what needs improvement. And I think that's giving feedback is as important as to empower people and as to say that they're doing a great job, but they need feedback as well.
I have one more question and then one more question for me.
Okay.
Right? I'll
shoot.
Which one do you want first? All right.
Whatever you want.
What makes you hopeful about the next generation of leaders/surgeons?
Ooh. What makes me hopeful? Hopeful maybe that they listen to me. Maybe that I'm hopeful to reach, I don't know, 10 million people so they get the right education about what to do. Because I see in my work a lot of terrible leaders. I do see that, and I see people get ahead for all the wrong reasons. That's just a fact. I don't judge it. It's a fact. So the role models where young people can sought after are probably not that much. So the next generation of leaders, I think that the next generation at the moment, they kind of are rebellious of the leadership in terms of that they don't care anymore, that they think, oh, I don't want to be that CEO. I don't want to climb up that ladder. I don't want to do that because have you seen what that makes out of people? I don't want to be that. I want to go after a purpose, whatever that might be, whatever that is. But I want to pursue something else and I will fulfill my dreams and not be kind of dependent of someone else. So does that make them a good leader? I don't think so, because as a leader, you care about other people as well. And so, yeah, hopeful or not, can't answer it yet.
Wow. My question.
So what is so maybe give me your opinion, because I'm just curious.
My opinion is, it's so funny, doctor. When you were saying that, the reason why I started creating content is I drew a picture of how I wanted my life to end. And I always thought I wanted to transfer knowledge. Always thought I want to be a university professor, probably teach one class when I'm older, much older. And then I want to have my little farm, live my life, enjoy the calm, but continue to transfer knowledge, because I think if there is a role on earth that is closest to divine, is the transfer of knowledge role. And that's how, if you think about it, that's how we transformed from Adam and Eve into a brilliant economy. Look around us.
True.
Right? And then And then somewhere along the line that changed, because I realized when I opened the channel, I thought, a professor at university, how many lives will I impact? 20 per year? 30? If I do 3 classes, 60 max? And then I created content and I thought, wow, I'm reaching 400,000 people in a post. Wow, that's a good deal.
It is.
It's a very good deal,
Yeah.
right? And then that number kept on growing and it became 17 million in a post. And I thought, oh my God.
Was it scary?
Oh my God. It still is, by the way. It terrifies me every day. And then I thought, I want to do that through this. I don't know if it's smart or not, but I'll tell you what I'm hopeful about. See why the younger generation in this region in particular are so smart. They have the highest level of access to knowledge that any generation has ever had. They're brilliant. My 14-year-old kid tells me stuff that it took me 40 years to figure out. 40 years. I figured it out recently. He knows it now, and he knows it better than I do. And he has access to tools that can help him. My fear is ego. That's my fear. If they can overcome their ego, I think we'll be I think we have a fantastic future coming. Fantastic. If they figure out that ego, I'm not the most important, community is. That's what I think. That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I like that take. And I think that's why because I was thinking about the ego, and as a cardiac surgeon, it's pretty easy to let your ego take over because you're doing brilliant things. And I've seen the ego taking over of a couple of my colleagues. So that's, I think, what saved me from not becoming that one. And there's a lot of jokes actually about cardiac surgeons being superior to God. Was me because I played volleyball at a very high level throughout my career, and so I was part of a team. I was not the team captain. No, I wasn't. I would have liked, but I didn't have the time. I probably wasn't that good, but I wasn't team captain, so I was part of the team. And I think that grounds you, and that's kind of the same way I do CrossFit probably. And one claim of CrossFit is leave your ego at the door. And I think that's so important for us to have that kind of calibration every now and then, and I think that's a good part to wish that for the next generation.
I love that. My last question, and that's out of curiosity. Have you woken up one day and thought, I missed the operation room?
No, I have not. There were some situations, for example, when I was discussing or still discussing with some colleagues, some aspects or some how should we treat or whatever, and then I think, oh my God, there's so many bad surgeons out there. There are. Why did I leave? Come on, I take over. I can do it better than you. But when I think about what I'm doing now and kind of I'm discovering new things every day. So because with medicine and surgery, it's very straightforward. It is the reality in one kind, but there's so much more out there in the world to discover. And that's what I liked about consulting, to have not only did projects in the healthcare space, but also in automotive and travel and luxury fashion, to have insights from other brilliant minds that think differently, that challenge how you think and what you think and challenge you to get better. And I think that's a brilliant thing. And I don't miss those sleepless nights. So that's really, I think, the quality of improvement in your life when you actually can get a proper night's sleep. That's hard to compete with.
Dr. Kerstin, it's an honor to have done this with you. I really enjoyed our conversation. This conversation can go on for easy 5 hours. I have so many questions, but I'm aware of your time. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for the fantastic things you've done in heart surgery. And thank you for the fantastic things you've done in consulting. And thank you in advance for the fantastic things you'll do in other arenas. Because I don't know, some part of me thinks very soon I'm going to hear that you jumped somewhere else.
That's true. I'm currently on the lookout for my next challenge. That's so true. No, yeah, but thank you very much. I really enjoyed that. And if someone's out there that has a brilliant new challenge up for me, hit me up.
I'll tell you what, she's done them all great. So yeah, go for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.